Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chef Joseph Shawana. I'm coming We are cooking from the, blah, 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 blah. Hello, everybody. My name is Chef Joseph Shawana. I'm here with my son, Hawk, and today we are going to be making a wild rice pasta. We are cooking from the Indigenous Food Lab here at the Midtown Market in Minneapolis. So we are going to be starting with some nice fresh ground wild rice flour that we have here. Some semolina flour. So it's just cornmeal, like really fine cornmeal. Duck eggs, shallots, garlic, a little bit of aromatics, vegetable stock, and dried chanterelle mushrooms. So you can use any mushroom that you have available, with whatever's in season, and reserve the mushroom stock. So I'll show you what to do with the mushroom stock a little bit later on. But right now, we're going to get started on the wild rice pasta. So my son Hawk will pour the wild rice flour into the bowl. What you can do with your wild rice is when you get it whole, you could grab a Vitamix or any blender or a nice fast spice grinder and grind it up, and it'll come into a flour just like that. And you want to sift it through a fine mesh strainer just to get out the larger pieces. And then that's about 250 grams of wild rice flour. Then we're going to add about just the same amount of semolina into it. We're going to reserve some of the semolina flour for rolling. Hawk can give it a nice big stir. So a good way to do it is just make a whisk with your hands. So make a whisk with your hands, like a claw, and then go in and then just turn it like this. And then it'll really incorporate it really well. So it's mixing nice and well?
Yeah.
Yeah. We came up with this recipe when we went to Paris about 2 years ago, I believe, where Hawk got to cook at École Ducasse, where he was the first ever Indigenous chef child to cook at that school. He milled the wild rice for it. He blanched it, he rolled it, he mixed it, he cut the mushrooms for it, and he garnished the whole plate. So it's just a play that I like to do on using our indigenous ingredients, but trying to think outside the box. Instead of using just the wild rice as treating it as a grain, how can we utilize that in other different practices? We do wild rice flour, we do wild rice dumplings, and so forth. But it's one of those ingredients that we have that we can actually go back to and actually learn more about our history. So now that that's nice and mixed and well incorporated, we're going to add, let's start with 2 duck eggs.
2 duck eggs?
So the whole recipe will vary depending on how well processed the wild rice is. If it's dried too much, it'll take up a lot of liquid, which is why I have a little bit of vegetable stock here, just in case I need to add it in to the wild rice to reconstitute it a bit. And it's just to bring everything together. So this is where we're going to get nice and messy. Okay? So you're going to squish those egg yolks together.
It feels so weird.
Feels so weird?
Yeah.
So you want it to just let's give it a nice good kneading. So sometimes we need a little bit more eggs. So we're going to add 1 more egg yolk in there. 1 more whole duck egg. Yeah, and then just give it a good mix. You get to cook a lot with nokomis, right?
Yeah, I got to cook.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about cooking with nokomis? Making the fry bread?
Yeah, making fry bread.
Yeah. So just give it a good mix. Turn like this, just like so. And then just squish it like that. Dig from the bottom, push down like this. Yeah, and push like that. Yeah. Then if we need to add a little bit more flour, we'll add a little bit more flour, okay?
Okay.
If it's too sticky like this, it's way too sticky for the pasta dough, I'll grab a little bit more wild rice flour. This wild rice flour actually comes from Red Lake, which is not too far from here. And we're just going to sprinkle a little bit on. This wild rice flour we actually sell it here at the Indigenous Food Lab in the marketplace. It's a really good grain. Actually, I used this flour when I did my dinner on Thursday at Owamni. And I've been getting a lot of requests to make this dish, this pasta, because it's not every day that somebody gets to eat wild rice pasta. See, now it's just a little too dry and it's just falling apart. We're gonna add, we're just gonna add a little bit of, I like to just add a little bit of vegetable stock. It adds a little bit more flavoring in the dish, in the pasta. So we're gonna grab it and then squish it. There you go. Good job, buddy. Okay. I'm gonna push it all together. Hawk did an amazing job. So when it gets to the consistency just like that, like a nice hard ball where you can hold it like so, and it doesn't fall apart, you'll know that it's at a good consistency. And then just knead it. You're gonna wanna work that wild rice flour to release just the little bit of starch that it has so that it holds together. So it's going to be like this, and then nice firm ball. You're just going to want to set that aside for about 20 minutes in the fridge. And we're going to get started on our prep or our mise en place. So a little bit about my history of where I come from. So I come from the Kwemkong unceded territory located on Manitoulin Island in Ontario. Right now, I'm currently residing in Toronto, and I'm the Indigenous Culinary and Foodways Guide at Centennial College, as well as doing some consulting work and some catering. I'm working alongside Sean now with being on the board of directors, which is phenomenal. So you just want to take off the top brown piece that's here, the root. There, there. And my knife is very, very sharp, okay, Aki? So Daddy will cut this one, okay?
Okay.
So nice, just little fine chips. I don't like to go too fine because I like to, when I serve my food and make my food, I want all of the ingredients to show of what's in that dish because it brings a more higher flavor profile. There. Put the garlic here. Okay. And this is called a shallot. Shallot. So a little bit of my French influence of culinary background coming in using a shallot. Usually I would have used like wild leeks, but it's very, very early spring and they haven't come up just yet. But if you go harvesting for wild leeks, you can actually use, preserve them, like pickle them and then use those, or preserve them in straight sunflower oil with a little bit of salt and then use those throughout the year. So instead of dicing, we're going to give it a nice good slice. Just like so. Nice and thin so that they cook nice and fast. You don't want them to burn, but you want them to release their natural oils. We'll put those on this plate as well. Okay. And we're going to grab some, what's this called, buddy? These are called?
Green onions.
Green onion or chives. So what do you think? Thin or thick?
Thick.
Okay. Nice big thick chop. So if you cut them too thin, they won't have that crunch to them. And if you cut them too thick, they'll have that raw flavor. So I think that this is the perfect size we're looking for. Okay. And this is called thyme. So smell it? Yeah. So usually if I just use a little bit, I just cut off the top. Just because the stems are so tender that they won't harm the dish at all. But the closer you get to the root and the bottom, the thicker they are, so you will have to remove the leaves. And with time, a little bit goes a long way. So we're gonna add that over here, just like so, okay? See how this is starting to have the yellow specks?
Yeah.
That's just showing that it's absorbing a lot of the liquid, okay? So then we grab it like this. So hopefully, if our ratios were right, which it's drying out pretty fast, So if it dries out too fast like this, it's going to add a little bit more liquid into it. Okay, so did you want to grab a little bit of the stock?
This?
Yeah. Because the pasta dough, it's absorbing a lot of the liquid, so you want to add a little bit more.
That?
A touch more. Yep, good. Okay. Then we're just going to give it a nice good crunch again, okay? You want to do that again?
Sure.
I'll help you. And let's do one more egg.
Right?
I think one more egg might do it.
No, to squish it?
Squish it, yeah. I'm gonna add just a touch of oil. It'll help bind everything together. Okay. Yeah, give it a good turn. Yeah, nice, nice. Nice. I like to cook with my hands and utilize my hands as much as possible when I'm cooking. Just so I'm looking for that right consistency and the right texture. Like I get to understand the food a little bit more and the feeling of the feel that I want for out of any dough that I'm doing, or it just really helps me bring the flavors together and just to have consistency in my food. If we're having too much trouble with a pasta roller, what we can do is we can always use a rolling pin like they used to do in the old days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Can I roll it?
So a nice good rolling pin.
Yep.
Okay, no, start from the middle. Always start from, don't never start from the edge when you're rolling, because look, it's just going to roll and it's just going to keep on going like this, where it won't get a good consistency. Okay, so you want to start in the middle and then roll out like this. Once you have a little bit like that, what we do is take the rolling pin off, turn, and then do it again. Okay. And then you can start going a little bit back and forth, just like so. Yeah, yeah. Then we're gonna let go, lift it up, turn it over, just so we can get the right consistency in there. So we're rolling it nice and thin. So you want it to be about a 1/16 of an inch thin. So just like so, just like so. And this is the way they used to do it before we all got those machines in.
Yeah.
Right, buddy?
Yes.
So if you go to like fettuccine, it's probably about about an eighth of an inch. Like tagliatelle is usually a little thicker. So it depends on your preference of dough, or if you want to go like a little thinner than that and do like spaghetti, you could go like a 1/16 of an inch thick. So what do you feel like? Fettuccine style, where it's nice and, yeah? Where it's medium. So we're gonna go like this. 1, 2, 3. So let's try to count in our language, okay? Okay. What's it? Yeah. Okay. So, Belgique,
Ni, Swe,
Niwen,
Nanen,
Nanen, Ngdoswe, Nijoswe, Shoswe, Jankswe, Medaswe. So that's 10. Then we can go even a little further. We can go to Medaswe Shibejik, Medaswe Shinish, Medaswe Siswe, Medaswe Niwen, and then so on and so forth, right? Then when you get to 20, you start at 20, right? So just like so. The language that I spoke when we were counting is Odawa, Ojibwe Odawa. We're part of the Three Fires Confederacy, so Ojibwe is Odawas, Potawatomis from Manitoulin Island. My wife is Cree from Fort Albany, so Hawk potentially can speak Cree, Ojibwe, Odawa, and hopefully with his Spanish heritage, a little bit of Spanish in the future. Right?
Yeah.
See. So now that we have a water to a nice good simmer, it's like you don't want it at a rolling boil because it will fall apart in there if it's too boiling too violently. So what I like to do is just like I like to grab one piece first, and then just to give it a test. So you want to grab it and put it in the water for me, and then we'll just taste the consistency, taste the flavor of the dish. Just put it all the way in, yeah. And then we just got to see how long it's going to cook, because then we got to get our timing right on how we're going to saute your aromatics into the dish. So this is the consistency that you would be looking for. You don't want it too thick, but you also don't want it too thin. If it's too thick, it'll come out more like a heavy dumpling, but if it's too thin, chances are it will fall apart in your water. But it also depends on the eggs you're using too as well. If you're using duck eggs, you need less duck eggs because there's higher fat content in it. But if you're using like chicken eggs, then you'll use a little bit more because the yolk is smaller, the egg whites are smaller, so the whole egg is smaller, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna grab the pasta. You wanna grab it out?
Sure.
With your tongs, grab it, and then we're gonna bring it over here.
Whoa.
Oh, see?
Dang it.
That's okay. We're gonna have to start all over again.
Dang it.
We're gonna grab it and put it in the water. Then we have to time it. Okay? So drop it in. Okay. We'll time it to see how long it takes. Okay?
You think it's ready?
1 minute. Yep. It's been 1 minute now. So make sure it doesn't drop. Then we'll put it here. And then put it on the table. Then we have to taste it, okay? To make sure it's cooked all the way through. Okay? So grab one. Blow on it because it's hot. See, it tastes like nuts. Has that nutty flavor. So in that hand-harvested wild rice, we actually sell in the market here at the Midtown Global Market at the Indigenous Food Labs. So we're gonna add this in there. I'll grab it, okay? And then you can take it out, okay, buddy?
Okay.
So we'll let that go, and then we have 1 minute to get our sauce ready. Do you think we can do it?
Yeah.
So I think it's like 55 seconds now. So we gotta go here. Okay. So grab the oil.
Yeah. I got it.
Okay. Put it in the pan. A little bit. A little touch more. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's good. And we just gotta make sure we coat the whole pan. Just like that. See? And then we'll turn it down a bit. Okay. Then we're gonna grab the shallots and garlic.
Yeah.
And
All of
put
it?
that in the pan. Yep. Just put it in the pan. Just dump it all in there. There you go. Give it a good shake. Yep. Then just give it a nice good turn. Okay. Stir. If it's easier for you, buddy, here I'll go like this. Just watch. Switch it up. There we go. And then just make sure you get the sides. Yep. Good job. And then we'll cut this. See? Oh, it's thick. Let's give it a nice good cut. Yeah, okay. So what we're looking for is seeing how the shallots are turning nice and brown.
Yeah.
That's called caramelization. Do you know why it caramelizes?
Why?
Because all the sugar is coming out. So usually with onions and shallots and wild onions, the more caramelization you have, the more sweetness it is. Okay? And it depends on the dish you're making. So if you're making a soup, I like to caramelize the onions first because it gives it more flavor. So, but you do not want to burn the garlic, because if you burn the garlic, then it gets really, really bitter. And then we're going to add some of the mushrooms. So when you add the mushrooms, we're just going to grab a little handful like this, and then just squeeze out the juice, okay?
So handful
Yeah.
like this,
Yep.
and squeeze it out.
Yep. And then you're going to want to add one more handful. Just put it in there. Yeah. And then add one more handful. Just put it in. Okay, then give it a nice good stir. So we want to go like this. Okay. Just like that. There we go. I'm going to give it a touch of vegetable stock. And this is just deglazing the pan. So it's getting all the flavor from the bits and pieces, from the mushrooms and the garlic, off of the sides. Okay, just like that. I like that earthy flavor of the chanterelle mushrooms. So it has a nice, like, earthy note, better than morels or button mushrooms. And they have that, it gives it that nice golden color that complements the wild rice very well. So I always try to pair all my dishes with not how it visually looks, but also how much flavor that we can get out of such simple ingredients as wild rice, mushrooms, garlic, and onions.
Do you think it's done?
Yeah, it's done. And then you can utilize any other mushrooms you want. So if you're on a budget, you can add button mushrooms or cremini mushrooms are actually pretty good. They actually hold up really well under heat. So I like just chanterelles just because they're nice, earthy flavors. So while Hawk is stirring, we're going to add the chives and the thyme. Okay, we're going to add the thyme first because you just want those natural oils to come out. Give it a nice good stir. So Hockey,
Yeah.
once you get to the right consistency like this, see how it's thickening up? So that's what you're looking for, okay? So this is just a recipe where you're thinking outside of the norm, right? So thinking outside the box of what we can do with like wild rice or any type of grain, indigenous grain that we have. So we grab the wild rice here, kind of offset it a bit. So, and I'll let my son put the sauce on top. It's right on top of the pasta. You could just pour it right on top. Good job. Yeah, so do a nice good stir. And you can put a nice big piece of cornbread here, or a nice tortilla or arepa. Just like so. So, and that's the wild rice pasta with foraged mushrooms.
Yeah.
What do you think, Hockey?
It looks really good.
It looks really good?
Yeah.
Yeah? I guess we have to try it, right? To make sure it tastes good,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so I'll let you go first. And you have to tell me how it tastes.
Okay.
It might be hot, so just be careful.
I can't pick it up.
It's good?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's good. Make sure you get some mushrooms, a little bit of everything in there when you take your first bite. Just like that, see? It's really good.
Yeah.
Taste the mushrooms, taste the garlic, onions, all the shallots, especially the wild rice with that nutty flavor, right? So I want to say thank you, Chimigwech, for joining me and for joining Hawk
Yeah.
and for coming and letting me and Hawk teach you how to make this wild rice pasta, because this is a dish that I really like to promote, because it's a dish that he got to cook alongside with me in Paris, France.
Yep.
At École Ducasse, and it's one of the dishes that's my go-to, and it's something that I'm still perfecting, and it's still going to get even better the more I try it and the more I do it. So I want to say thank you to Miigwech. I hope to see you guys soon, and Bamampi.
Bye.